It was supposed to be just another normal late-night interview. Nothing special, just warm and casual. But when Robert Downey sat down under the bright studio lights, something changed. His hands shook a little when he mentioned the new Pope Robert Prevost. What followed wasn't just a story, it was a confession wrapped in silence and memory. The room fell silent as he began to speak. The audience cheered when Robert walked onto the stage, but something felt strange in the air. He was dressed in his signature stylish suit with purple-tinted glasses, looking every bit the sophisticated Hollywood icon he'd become since his comeback. But tonight, his usual confident smile looked strained. He sat down, and the host greeted him with a friendly hug and a joke about how Robert still had the same swagger from his Iron Man days. The audience laughed, but Robert only gave a small smile. On the table between them was a broken crucifix. The wooden base was cracked, and the figure of Jesus leaned to one side. The host didn't seem to notice it and kept the conversation light, mentioning that the new Pope, Robert Prevost, was making headlines. When the Pope's name was mentioned, Robert's expression changed. He took off his glasses, revealing tired eyes that had seen both the heights of success and the depths of struggle. "There's something about him I've never been able to explain," Robert said softly. The host tried to keep things casual, but Robert seemed serious. He touched the broken crucifix gently and said, "I've stayed quiet for long enough." The room went completely silent. Robert reached into his designer jacket pocket and pulled out an old yellowed envelope. "This arrived a few years ago," he explained. "I didn't open it because I was told not to." The envelope had no name on it, just a symbol of a cross inside a circle. Inside was a note that said, "Do not read until the dove has landed." Robert then shared that after Pope Prevost was elected, he started having the same dream every night. In the dream, he stood in an empty St. Peter's Square. The new pope appeared on the balcony, dressed in white and smiling, but he cast no shadow. The sun was behind him, but the light passed right through him. In the dream, the pope raised his hand, but the bells didn't ring. There was complete silence. No birds, no people, just emptiness. "I've had dreams about darkness before," Robert said, adjusting his colorful bracelet, a reminder of his journey through addiction and recovery. "But I've never woken up crying until this one." He didn't want to talk about it because he wondered if he was seeing something others couldn't. "It feels like a warning," he admitted. Robert then revealed more letters he had received. He pulled out a bundle of aged envelopes from his tailored jacket, all delivered anonymously in different places. Hotel rooms, his trailer on Marvel sets, even inside books he hadn't touched in years. None had return addresses or stamps. Each letter contained strange, cryptic messages like, "When the successor smiles, faith watches in silence," and "He wears no shadow because the light fears him." The first one came just 2 days after Prevost was announced as Pope. None of the letters ever used Prevost's name directly, which Robert suggested was out of fear, not censorship. Robert then shared another letter, one that Pope Francis had sent him. It contained warnings about someone who would dress in light but carry the hollow, and whose words will echo comfort but will not reach the soul. Francis seemed to be warning about someone who would fill the papal role but without the true spirit of it. Someone who could wear the robes and speak of peace without carrying the weight of faith. When the host asked why Francis would send these warnings to Robert, he admitted he didn't know. "I'm not a theologian or a bishop. I'm an actor who's had my share of second chances," he said, referring to his well-known recovery from addiction and his career resurrection. "But maybe that's why. Maybe he thought I'd see it as a story, as something real beneath the symbols. Or maybe I was just the only one he thought would listen." Robert then revealed he had seen a private interview with Pope Francis that was never broadcast. In the short clip, Francis had said, "Don't listen to my voice. Watch the silence. One day it will speak louder than I ever could." In the background of that interview, Prevost could be seen standing still, watching the camera lens without blinking. Robert showed a printed still frame from that video, pointing out how Prevost was looking directly at the camera. "When I saw this, it felt like he wasn't in the room. It felt like he was watching through the screen, like he already knew someone else would be watching later." The interview was deleted from every device, but not before Robert had seen it. Finally, Robert shared one last note that had been left in his dressing room before the show. If you show it, there is no going back. He then read the final part of Pope Francis's letter. If the voice of faith becomes only an echo, the truth will die in silence. There are those who will wear the robes but not the burden, those who will speak the words but not know their weight. You will know them by the spaces between their answers. Robert explained that Francis believed silence could be holy but also dangerous, that it could comfort or hide the truth. He believed someone was coming who would lead through stillness, not out of peace but out of absence. Robert ended by mentioning he had one last photograph taken almost 10 years ago, before he straightened his bow tie and looked directly into the camera with the intense focus that had made him famous in both his roles and his real-life journey of transformation.